People ain't loyal no more. It's time to talk. Mike, thank you for coming. Thank you for accepting my invitation.
You're welcome.
Welcome to my world of loyalty core values. Welcome to Beyond Loyalty.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So let's start with, where did you grow up? Tell me a little bit about your childhood.
Yeah, well, childhood was quite good actually, because I'm originally from Saddleworth, which is over past Oldham, Manchester, towards Yorkshire way. Not really Yorkshire, not really Lancashire, a bit in the middle. We've fought over where we're from originally, but so I brought up in Saddleworth. Quite a lot of my childhood was brought up on a farm. Grandparents had a small holding in one of the little villages called Lidgate, and spent a lot of time up there, really. We're living on their farm, enjoying quite a great childhood, really. Animals, out on
No
quad
smartphones.
bikes. No smartphones at all. It was
running around.
up early in the morning, out on the fields.
That's what we remember.
It was absolutely
Back in
fabulous.
days.
I can't have had a better childhood, really, living out there, because there's not a lot of kids these days that to be out in the open air, enjoying themselves. And
So when did you move up north here towards Warrington? You live in Warrington
yeah,
now.
I live in Warrington now. So I lived in Warrington for about 22 years now. So I've been here quite a while. Moved over from there with work, really, and I worked between Warrington and Oldham, is where I first started working as a solicitor, and then slowly but surely made my way back over onto this side, working in St Helens, worked in Manchester, and then finally worked back in Warrington, where I am today.
So tell me a little bit about that journey. How did you end up being a solicitor? What was the trigger that you realized that actually this is something I would love to do?
It was quite strange, because originally when I was young, being brought up on a farm, I wanted to be a vet. That was what I wanted to be a vet.
Makes
so
sense.
I enjoyed my sciences. I enjoyed doing that at school. And then one day I spoke with a family friend, and she was just about to start at university doing a law degree, and I thought, oh, what's this? What's the law degree? And looked into it a little bit further. This was probably when I was at secondary school. And I thought, this is quite interesting, because there's so many different aspects of the law that you could work in, and it gave me a bit of a feel. Do I want to go into this rather than being a vet? But it took me a little bit of a soul search, I guess you'd say, to say, what do I want to do? And I guess at 14, 15-year-old, nobody knows really what they want to be doing. I mean, I think even till about 10, 15 years ago, I probably didn't know what I wanted to be doing, really. But that's where I got the urge then to go and study law, and ended up going down to Staffordshire and doing my law degree down there. So it was quite a big step, really, obviously moving away from home.
And then you worked for some practice, like for someone else?
Yeah, well, I worked
That's how it started?
Yeah, started off, I worked in Oldham for quite a large firm of solicitors in Oldham, actually. Did my training contract there, which is a 2-year contract. You work with them doing different aspects of law. So I didn't start in property, but I started working in clinical negligence work. So that was quite interesting, because obviously that's looking at negligent operations, medical care, things like that. So that was quite a hard topic to actually cover that, because obviously you saw quite a things that weren't very nice that were happening to people. But so I started doing that, and then I moved into a contentious training seat, which was litigation and commercial litigation. So that was obviously looking at disputes between people, businesses, individuals, debt recovery, things like that. So it was obviously, being a trainee, you tended to do a lot more debt recovery work, because that's where it was the easier work to begin with, easier fees for trainees to bring in. And then after that, it was a case of, I was working one day and I was asked, one of our solicitors has just left in the conveyancing department. Do you want to go and do the training seat in conveyancing? Because I needed a non-contentious seat as part of my training contract. So they said, we can open this one up for you. And I thought, I don't really know what conveyancing is, to be honest with you. So yeah, I went into the conveyancing department, and that it went from there. Really, started working with a few very good lawyers to begin with, who give me a very good grounding in conveyancing. One guy called Bob Bouch, actually, I started working with him in conveyancing. He was a character. You always have to have characters to start living with. Start working with. But he started my basically, I guess, my journey in conveyancing. Really, teaching me his ways of doing things, and to this day, I probably do quite a few things that he did still.
So did you realize then that this is actually quite exciting, probably more exciting than the first one?
Yeah, it was a lot more probably exciting than litigation work for me anyway. Because you're tending to find with property work, you got to deal with different types of people, different types of backgrounds. Not one property was the same. It was
normal
good.
Homeowners, investors, different
exactly.
type
And I mean, at the end of the day, you're dealing with what people say is quite the most stressful things you ever do in life. Don't they say moving house and divorce are two of the most stressful things you'll ever do in life? And to say you're there at that point when people are very, very stressed, and you're trying to help them to get where they want to be and move into their house, really.
Definitely. The process of buying and selling property can be painful.
It can be very painful. Yeah. Even for us as lawyers, it's never straightforward. You've got a lot of pressure, a lot of things put in front of you to deal with. It's not just you've got sometimes you've got challenging clients. Yep. Sometimes you've got challenging titles to properties.
Every day on the
phone. You've not just got your clients. You've got about 4 or 5, 6 different parties who can be involved in a transaction, and they all want to know where things are up to. They all want their transaction to be at the front of the front of your desk, so you're working on it.
I experienced the situation where there was a long chain and it fell through for different reasons. Sometimes it was because someone's mortgage expired and they couldn't get another one, for example, or it was because their circumstances changed. So, for example, someone lost a job and they couldn't go for that property anymore. But when it collapsed, and some people, for example, already have everything in a place, everything is packed in the boxes, and then you have to tell them that you're actually not moving. It's not nice. It's not nice. It's not exciting conversation to have.
No, I mean, as part of the job, a lot of the time, you're not just a conveyancer. You can be a marriage counsellor, you can be a general counsellor for them, you're looking after them, you're trying to hold their hand, and breaking that bad news to people, especially when there may be some people, especially in chains, are involved. They could be waiting 4 or 5 months down the line, only to then find out that the house that they have been falling in love with, they've bought lots of things to go into that house, they've made all the arrangements to move, and suddenly you're telling them, well, actually, no, sorry, you can't move. Or if not just delayed, it's completely fallen through.
Yeah.
Especially, like you say, if someone's unable to get a mortgage because they've either been put on redundancy notice or they've lost a job, it's difficult to give them that news.
And there is always cost involved, so there is a lot of pressure. When you, for example, as an investor, when you've got vacant property and it's not tenanted, and there is mortgage on it, you still have to pay the mortgage. You still have to pay council tax.
You don't have empty property relief anymore. For
even
if
it's just standard rate for electricity and gas, it's still couple tens of pounds a month, and it all adds up. So I understand why people put so much pressure on it.
Yeah, and there's all situations like people are selling a house because they're separating. Unfortunately, it does happen, and then you've got to tell them, sorry, unfortunately, although where you were trying to get this clean break of going your separate ways, you're going to be back to square one, trying to then find another buyer for your house, and that's only if it's an amicable separation for some people. Sometimes it can be really difficult, and you've got to give that bad news saying, sorry, you've got to put up with this for another 4 or 5 months, sometimes even longer.
Did you have some challenging situation that they were blaming your company or yourself, that it was your fault and complaints?
You've got to have a thick skin to work with property, because at the end of the day, you're at the forefront of the person's move.
Yeah.
If they're not going to be moving, they're looking for someone to blame for it. And unfortunately,
there's always someone to blame.
You're going to get the blame, and I think with the job that I do, I've come across, some people see a solicitor as someone who's quite stuck up sometimes, and I try not to be that. I'm trying to be very personal with people, and
In the end of the day, you still deal with
we
people.
still dealing with a human being.
Yeah,
You need to
you
have
deal with human
that,
beings.
and you've got to sometimes just let them vent. I mean, I've had people where they've come at me, they've swore down the phone at me, shouted at me. I've had people turn up at the front of the office screaming and shouting at all my staff.
Really?
Yeah, I've had people just walking through the front door because the transaction's not gone the way, and they want. But you sit down, talk with them as a human, and they see, you calm them
They
down,
understand.
and they understand that it's not your fault.
I had the same,
It
but
does
over
happen,
the
yeah.
phone, obviously. They didn't
Yeah.
come to office. But I had some tough conversation because there were obviously, especially when we sell off-market properties, I'm facing the seller and the buyer as well in most
Yeah.
cases, because it's my buyer, someone that I know, and it's the seller that I approach to sell his property. So he was blaming me for not completing within 2 months' time. But, there is a process. They don't understand that, we can't skip legal work.
No.
People make
Unfortunately, yeah.
mistakes.
Oh yeah, mistakes do happen, and it's how you then deal with that mistake and try
Yeah.
to put it right, because mistakes happen. We're only human. At the end of the day, we can't be perfect 100% of the time. Things are missed, things are not spotted, or they're picked up at the last minute. These things do happen. It's just a case you've got to try and then deal with it the best way you can and try and resolve things for people.
Definitely.
So
Lots of challenging things, even throughout the process, like searches. What happens to those properties that are, for example, close to mine coal? Are they struggling to get mortgage on them? Or
I mean, you've got, especially in the north of England, you've got minefields are everywhere. The properties,
like the
especially
whole Manchester was,
Manchester,
coal mining area.
St Helens, especially. St Helens is really one of the epicenters of the coal mining in the northwest, I'd say. And you order a coal search in St Helens area, and you know full well it's going to be that there's been historic mining for that property. There's also going to be probably, I'd say about 50% of the time, there's going to be coal mining claims, whether legitimate or not, that have been made against that property or nearby properties.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll even find a lot of the properties have got mine shafts in the back gardens that nobody knows about, but they've been there for many, many years. They've been covered, they've been treated, they've had concrete toppings put on them to basically make them safe. So it's a lot of the time, you've got to basically get to the bottom of what the risk is, with especially coal mining searches.
Claims, mainly.
Yeah. If there's subsidence claims, you've then got to look at if there's any potential for subsidence going forward. Are there any insurances you can take out which will protect against any potential claims in the future for subsidence claims? And especially if people got mortgages, you've got to refer things like that to the valuers, because at the end of the day, the valuers will make a call if it's worth the risks for the lender to lend against the property.
What was the most challenging property you were dealing with? Obviously, I believe there were few.
Yeah,
but
there's quite a few. I mean, you've got different challenges throughout a property transaction. You've got your transactions where you've got the clients themselves who are the challenge, because some people, they don't like what they're being told. I'm always straightforward and upfront with people. I'll tell them as it is. Some people don't like being told that, and it's those transactions where they're ringing you daily, they're emailing you 2 or 3 times a day, and it's
for the update that you will actually have in 5 days, because you told them that the searches will only come on Friday.
And you've given them an update yesterday, and they're ringing you up 9 o'clock the next day to say, can I have an update? It says, you had an update yesterday at 4 o'clock. Unfortunately, since then, I've been home, I've been to sleep, I've got up and I've come back into the office. Nothing else has been done. So it's, with them transactions, you've got to have that difficult conversation with people and say, look, you are slowing your transaction down. You're slowing 100 other people's transactions down by ringing me and emailing me constantly. I'm not getting any other work done. So those are the types of transactions where it's difficult based on the people involved. But then you've got transactions involved where you've got major title issues. You've got people who've had extensions built on where they shouldn't have had it done. They've had extensions
without planning permission.
Building regulations. They've had extensions done where they've built on the neighbour's land.
And what about these titles? Can they be resolved? Are there indemnity insurances that cover them? Or?
Yeah, for certain type of transactions, there are indemnity insurance policies which you can get, especially for the likes of the slightly older. Well, extensions are a prime example. If you've got a slightly older extension on a property,
over 20 years,
you've got to look at your risk. You've got to do it on a risk-sensitive basis.
Whether there is any structural issue or something like that.
Exactly, because you can get an insurance policy in place, but the insurance policies tend to only protect you against claims from the local authority.
Mm-hmm.
But these days, local authorities have not got very much money. They have got other things to be spending the money on than doing
chasing
enforcement action for you having a small porch put on your property or a new boiler put in, for example. So you can take out insurance to protect against that. But at the end of the day, you've got to look at more what the risk is.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's an extension with no
and
building regs,
there is massive crack, then there is potential
you've got to
risk.
you've got to, rather than looking at the insurance, you've got to look at getting the experts in. You've got to look at the structural engineers to come and look at things like that.
Whether it's safe.
If they're saying it's safe, then
there is no risk.
What's the risk?
Yeah.
What's the risk? And then you've just got to ask the valuer, does it value up at the same because it's not got the correct paperwork? There are some circumstances where you've got things like loft conversions where they're a big issue because obviously they've got...
If they shouldn't be there.
Yeah, you've got knock-on effects for insurance and a lot of the time... I mean, we've had people who... A prime example for us as a company was we had someone who was buying a property. It had a loft conversion done on it with no building regs. We told the lender, and the lender pulled the mortgage.
Ooh.
Now, that was because basically they were going to either pull the mortgage or they were going to downvalue it by 30 grand, I think it was on that. But
so they would have to top
it up. But basically, in the end, they actually did pull the mortgage offer. Now, unfortunately, in that situation, the client didn't like being told that. Didn't like being told by us that, well, we've either saved you 30 grand or we've saved you from buying something which is going to cost you a lot more than 30 grand in the future for the
100%.
issue. That person then made a complaint to the ombudsman about us.
No way.
And fortunately, the ombudsman looked at all the paperwork and he turned around to the client and his final judgment was actually turned around to the client and said, my judgment is pay Holbrook's fees. Because basically Holbrooks have saved you tens of thousands of pounds by doing the work that they should be doing. And that's obviously, it's times like that you feel justified.
So they wanted to buy that property even with those issues?
They wanted to buy it even with the issues, which some people do.
Which is fine. If you have cash, it's your decision.
Yeah,
you know, you can
but it's someone else's money, a lender's money.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more difficult.
Crazy.
And the other, one very difficult situation I had, and this isn't really something probably not even to joke about at all, but we had a client who was selling a property. It was due to complete in a couple of weeks' time, and unfortunately, the morning we were supposed to exchange, my client rang me up and said the person had just passed away that morning. So it's little things like that you get, and it's nobody's fault that it happens.
Yeah.
But
you deal with human beings.
Exactly.
At the end of the day,
it's not just a title.
People don't understand. It's AI age at the moment, but we still have human being involved in these transactions.
Exactly, because
there is family who's selling the property when they sell the probate properties. They most of them just waiting for money,
exactly
to split. That's reality. I've been dealing with a couple probates, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
They just want to get it done, and everyone wants to get paid. At Rainbow Northwest, we make real estate effortless. Whether you're looking to sell on the market, off-market through our exclusive investor database, or via auction, we've got you covered. Plus, we offer top-notch property and project management, including refurbishment for investors. We can help you to build your own portfolio. Let us help you on your real estate journey. Rainbow Northwest, your trusted real estate business partner.
Yeah, I mean, I've also had situations where it's been even worse, where we've had police involvement because people have died in properties, and I won't go into too much detail as to what that involved, but it's basically been a case of, well, we can't sell this because this place is now a crime scene.
Yeah,
so it's been some
challenging,
very challenging situations like that.
but it's mainly with the people.
It's mainly the people, the people and that.
More than properties. So, do you enjoy what you do now?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. It's I found my
thing.
niche. I found what I do. I like it. I say a lot of my work is with investors. I say I like working with yourself.
Yeah.
Obviously, we work with investors, and end of the day, they're people who you're looking after because they are putting their hard-earned money in to try and better themselves with their incomes, trying to make an income for the future for them as well. And I've worked in Manchester city centre. I've worked with investments for big corporations. I've worked with smaller companies. I've worked with bigger companies. But now, obviously, I work for myself, my own company. Got some great people I work with.
Is it you and Mark?
Myself and Mark were directors in the company, and I say it's our business. We want to look after it, and obviously it's our reputation on the line if things don't work. So we're here to basically make things work.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, what I liked when we started working together is I had regular updates and real updates. I remember one deal, it was a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, when I still remember I was near one house in Denton, and I was on the phone with you, and it was basically their solicitors were saying that we didn't send them inquiries. Then you sent me a screenshot, and I literally had to show them the screenshot that we send inquiries.
Yeah,
and it's kind of embarrassing as well. Like, you are professional, this is your job, what do you need to do? They were making excuses that it went to spam, then they suddenly find it in a minute time. I'm thinking myself, like, really?
yeah.
Like, what do you think is it's the biggest problem? In my view, from perspective of someone who's doing the sales progression, trying to get deals over the line, because that's when we get paid.
Well, we all get paid at that point.
Yeah. So from my point of view, some solicitors, in my view, take too much admin and they can't handle it. They don't have enough admin staff to handle that admin work, whether that's raising inquiries or replying to inquiries. Yeah. It just takes too long. Sometimes like 3 weeks to reply to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether
inquiries.
It's people are too busy, they've taken on too much work. I mean, in the conveyancing industry at the moment, if we're talking about the lawyers in the industry, a lot of the good lawyers, unfortunately, have left the industry generally.
Mm-hmm.
And
you've got young people.
I mean, end of the day,
trainees.
We've all been there. We've all started.
Of course, everyone starts
somewhere. But at the same time, you're having a lot of people who are maybe not supervised enough,
mm-hmm.
or they're not brought up in the conveyancing industry to actually know what conveyancing is.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to tick a box, they know how to fill a sheet in, they know how to press a button, but the moment you actually go into the law, they don't have a clue.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the biggest issue we have, is that a lot of the people we deal with, they don't know the law. I mean, it might sound a silly thing with people with that, but you start asking people about laws from the 1925 and things like that. They look at you like it's you're talking a different language sometimes, and it's difficult. And
is that what they studied? To do?
Well, unfortunately, there are quite a few parts of the industry where you have what we call factory conveyancing establishments where it's high volume. I mean, the high volume conveyancing has its place. There are certain areas of it, remortgages, things like that, where they're probably well suited for that, because remortgages are a lot of the time easier, straightforward, very process driven.
Yeah.
And
I recently did remortgage for my house, and it was really, really straightforward. It was literally up. I could see updates there daily.
Yeah.
And it took a couple of weeks only.
That's all
it was really straightforward.
And a lot of those...
As soon as I provided, the paperwork that they asked me to provide, I could see updates on a daily basis.
And they're great. For that type of transaction, they're great. But when you get to the actual nitty-gritty of the conveyancing, it's a lot of the time is they've got someone doing the work on the files, and then at every process it's then got to be checked. and you have so many delays by people saying, I need this file signing off, I need this to be checked, I need this to be checked, and then there's more inquiries raised. It's a big issue with slowing down the process.
And in some cases, I had a feeling, to be honest with you, that when I phoned some solicitors and someone opened the file, they didn't have a clue about that property. They didn't know what kind of issues, trying to give me update. I fully understand, again, we are human beings. We go for holidays, we go for annual leave, so you can't deal with the file 24/7. But the person who's covering back, they should have at least basic knowledge about them files.
I mean, it's like with us as a company, we have things like, specifically like you just said, holidays. We have one of the ladies who works with us, Anne. She was one of our fee earners. Anne's been doing the job longer than me, and I think she'd actually done it longer than most of the people in our company. And she retired, and then she came back to be our post-completion manager, but now she's also our locum, so she covers holidays. So when either myself or Mark are away on holiday, or any of the other feeders on holiday, Anne steps in. She knows the system. Everything. She can pick up the files. She knows how to read the system for files. It's like you're not away. So for the client's journey, the client's experience of buying a house, that impacts them so much.
And the communication is the key.
Exactly.
As long as you communicate with the client, there are very little issues.
I mean, I think most firms have case management systems these days, and I mean, some unfortunately don't, and we do hear about them a lot of the time, and they don't have systems in place. But we have a case management system in place where we've got automated updates by text, automated updates by email, online case tracker, and obviously then direct email, and so many people who can give updates. So I get a contract in on a new purchase. Before I've even really started working on it, the client's probably already got about 3 or 4 text messages and emails to tell them the contract's arrived.
Fixture and fittings they have to fill and
everything's
and
in.
all that.
They're ready to work, and they're just kept up to date. And a lot of the time, if people are asking for updates, it's because they want something a bit more in depth, because there's something's a little bit out of the norm. But 99% of the time, people know where a file's up to because they've already been given the updates, or they can log on when they're in bed at night at 11 o'clock at night, just getting ready to go to sleep, and they can just log on the phone and say, oh yeah, this is where we're up to, and they know then.
That's smart.
So
really smart.
It just helps if some people do check, but that's the problem. we do unfortunately have a certain area in the sector that we provide this system to as well, but they just don't check it. Okay. It's just easier to send an email and say, can we have an update? But
is it not annoying that sometimes you get emails even from 3 different people about the same property? For example, if there is a deal maker involved, then you've got vendor himself or herself, then you've got someone else, let's say estate agent involved. Sometimes there is a couple more people involved.
You could have mortgage brokers involved, financial advisors involved, they're all wanting to know when they're going to get paid as well at the end of the day.
100%.
But you can update them as long as you've got authority. You can update them if you've got the time to do it. But at the same time, I've said it to quite a few estate agents this week, and just be straight up front with them, because they'll respect you more if you tell them this is how it is. I've said to them, look, I'm losing 5 or 6 hours a week simply giving people updates. That 5 or 6 hours, I'm not progressing people's transactions where I can't get work done on them.
Yeah.
And if you say that to them, it's like, oh, that's like nearly a full day's worth of work a week that you're just losing.
Wow.
And so I've had to tell estate agents and even a couple of clients this week says, look, I can't give you an update at the moment because I'm too busy trying to actually progress cases. When I've got time, I will give you an update
of course,
where you need the update.
You even reply to my emails after working hours.
Yeah.
So I had updates all the time when I needed them. And I'm one of those. I won't bother you unless it's critical. For example, the seller is kicking off that they will pull out transaction if we don't move. And in some cases, it happens, but again, it's because of people involved in transactions.
Yeah.
It's not about the property. It's just people being different sometimes.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of the time. And like you say, it's communication.
Yeah,
If
definitely.
you get communication right, then it gives people a lot less reason to either get upset or angry at you for not giving the updates all the time. But like you say, you just got to be straight up front with people,
Yeah.
manage people's expectations, and they'll respect you for it in the end, especially when you then move the transaction through within the time frame that you've originally promised them.
Definitely. Let's show the human face of
Yes.
conveyancing. So tell me a little bit more about ice hockey. How did you get to that? Honestly,
Yeah.
I didn't even think there is ice hockey in the UK. I know it from Slovakia because, we are very passionate about it. It's one of the sports that we are quite good at it, but, there is lots of fans in Slovakia for ice hockey.
Yeah.
We love it. We had a couple players in NHL as well. We watch it on regular basis. How did you get to that?
Well, strangely enough, with ice hockey, I started, as a lot of people do, was on a schoolyard puck, basically playing inline hockey with your friends on the playground, starting a team with your friends and having a bit of a mess around. And then I think for me it was watching the film The Mighty Ducks when I was young. I watched this, I was like, wow, this sport looks great. And I mean, looking back now, those films are cheesy, very cheesy as it is when it comes to ice hockey, but it just got to me like, I want to play this. So I moved really from playing the puck to playing inline hockey a bit more, and then unfortunately the rink that was near my house closed down. It's now a housing development out of all that, and it was probably about 14 or 15 years ago that I got back into really playing hockey again, and started.
Is that in
playing,
Warrington?
I actually play in Widnes.
In Widnes?
Yeah, I play Widnes. I started off back when I came back playing in Altrincham, but now I play. My team's based out of Widnes Ice Rink, so it's straight.
Is there many ice rinks in the UK?
You'd be surprised.
In Northwest.
You'd be surprised actually. From Warrington, you're probably talking. There's about 5 rinks within 45 minutes to an hour of.
Interesting.
Yeah, you've got Deeside, Widnes, Blackburn, Altrincham. Slightly bit further away, you got Telford.
And obviously, it's not just for ice hockey; it's for ice skating as well.
Ice skating. I say a lot. I mean, you look at the rink at Widnes. You got ice skating, figure skating, ice hockey, para ice hockey. That is a brutal sport. If you ever want to watch a physical and brutal sport, watch some para ice hockey, sledge hockey. That is they're on sledges with the sticks and smashing into each other in the sledges. That is a brutal sport. That is, but no, I got into this. It was a sport that I'd always had interest in,
passion in.
And then I met some
any injuries.
Guys. Oh, yeah, nothing serious, fortunately. Torn
because
tendons.
There can be some serious injuries.
I mean,
I've seen people, smashing the glass and
head injuries,
shoulders, and head injuries. Yeah.
I mean, I've had a few tendons torn in ankles and shoulders injured. Nothing broken, touch wood. Never broken anything as yet, but it's.
Do you play every week?
I train weekly. Play 2 or 3 times a month if we can do during the summer, especially when we can get ice time, because we train at like 11 o'clock at night.
So is it some kind of like competition or?
There are. Yeah, I
play
a
few teams.
I play in recreational hockey, which is basically, I guess if you compare it to football, it's like your Sunday league, kind of. Yeah. But it can be quite high level.
Just to enjoy it.
Just to enjoy it.
And play.
We've played in numerous tournaments. We have played in cup leagues. We've won quite a few. Well, won quite a few of the leagues over the years. We've had players who've come to join us who've then made the step up to playing for ice hockey league teams. So they've obviously taken the step up of playing from very much amateur level to playing up at the semi-professional levels. It's one of those sports that you don't think is very common
Yeah.
in the UK. But when you actually get to look into
Equipment
it,
is not cheap as well.
it's not. It's probably one of the most expensive
It is,
sports
yeah.
to play. Not just
My
your,
brother-in-law
yeah.
used to play, and I remember that I think he was goalkeeper, and there was so much he had to buy, you know.
Yeah, it's goalies are a different breed together anyway, but their kit is thousands of pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, even for a player, you're probably talking for high quality or decent quality equipment. A single player setup is probably about £1,500.
1,500.
So that's your minimum setup for your
Basics.
skates, sticks,
Mhm.
and obviously things like sticks.
They break.
They break. So you break a stick, that's £250-300 for a new one. So it's not cheap at all.
Not cheap.
The thing is with the hockey, it's quite a close knit community. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's a lot of it around. If you look into it, there's a lot more fans around that you actually would think there are. But the friends I've made through hockey, a lot of them I class more as family than friends now. I mean, my best man at my wedding was one of my hockey teammates, and we've done all sorts of crazy things as a team. I mean, as a team last year, we actually climbed Snowdon in hockey kit, in full hockey kit. I mean, one of our players even climbed it with his skates on.
Really?
So so there's all sorts of things like that we get up to, and it's a great community to be a part of. And it's a great way of we put a lot back into the community with it, with charity events and charity games. We've done games for Ronald McDonald House. We've done games for the Christie in Manchester, fundraising. So it's a great sport to be playing and a great to be part of it, really.
That's great. That's how it should be. It's always about that community, you know,
Yeah.
people enjoying that sport and looking after each other and you know, being friend out of that.
Yeah, it's a massive support network as well for some of the lads. I mean, it's very much it's not just the guys who play hockey. We've got some of the women who play hockey with us, and it's the actual camaraderie between us all.
Yeah,
It's brilliant. We love
Cool.
it.
Beers. We love them.
We do. It's I think it's one of our. I think it's one of the biggest topics we probably speak about more than apart from property.
We've been sending pictures each other of different beers. I know that I noticed. I think it was last year or year before when you did those tasting pictures of the.
Oh yes, the calendar.
The calendar.
Yes, I do.
Do you do it every year?
I think for the last 3 years. I mean, it was 3 or 4 years. I think I had 1 year off because I was in the Caribbean for most of December that year. So I didn't get around. Unfortunately, I didn't get around to doing it. But I think for 3 of the last 4 years, I've done a beer review for a different type of calendar. Beer calendar each year. So
is it lagers and IPAs and different?
It's all the types of beers you can think of: IPAs, lagers, dark stouts, sours, anything you could think of. Really, there's different types of the calendars that they've had. I mean, one of the ones I've had was not dropping any names on it, but I've had the Brewdog calendar.
Yeah.
I've had the Beer 52 calendar. I've had.
So you basically just tasted a different Brewdog beers.
The Brewdog,
every day different.
Every day different ones. So I say with the Brewdog ones, you do tend. There are the few of them that were very different from the others, like the Elvis juices of this world, which are grapefruit based beers and things like that.
I like that.
But some of their beers do tend to taste very similar from the ones. But when you go to the more independent type of calendars, that's when you start getting your different beers from around the world. And there are some that I've had which have been absolutely amazing beers. And
where do you buy them? Where do you buy them? Like, I don't mean Brewdog, obviously, in the UK, but have you got any site where you order some different type of beers from different countries?
Yeah, I mean, the one I've just got this year, I've gone for Beer 52 again this year, and that's just via their website. And I've just gone on and I've said, right, we'll give these guys a go, because they tend to have beers from all around the world, all around not just Europe, all around the world, and it's great to taste the different types of beers that there are, really.
Definitely.
So I say it's just. I think I've had some beers, unfortunately, I have had to just tip down the sink because it's just like, no, I cannot drink that. And I will say that on my reviews. I will say this was just unpalatable. You just could not drink this, even if you could drink.
I probably
anything.
struggle with too sweet ones because I don't know. I don't taste any beer anymore. It's more like a lemonade. I love some of them, but. I don't know. Probably my favorite ones are some hazy IPAs.
Yeah.
Tasty, citrusy flavors like grapefruit, lemon.
I mean, I like
lime.
some of your easy to drink ones, like your New England IPAs or your triple hop type of beers, where they're very, very much a fruity, dry beer.
Yeah.
But they're very, very tasty. And then you've got your beers that've got the wild yeast, which are very they're a very not many people would like them, put it that way. They're very vinegary in taste, and unless you do like that type of beer.
I tried a couple, didn't really like it, to be honest with you. It's not something that I would have, if I go somewhere. I would probably I don't know. I like lagers, normal lagers. They're nice. Italian ones.
Yeah.
They've got some nice beers. Birra Moretti, Peroni on draft.
Yeah.
They're
Nice. I mean I like the lagers, but if I'm going out to test, I like to try your weird
different.
and wonderful, like the stranger combinations of drinks
Ales?
you can have. Ales.
Do you prefer ales?
I think I do
Yeah?
prefer my ales.
Yeah.
I mean, where I like going to Krakow quite a lot. And
You've got some Polish.
I've got Polish family.
family.
My grandparents were Polish, so they were basically from not too far from Krakow, really. And one of the places in Krakow is called the House of Beer, and I think I've sent you a picture of this in the past.
Yes.
And it usually has about 18 different taps on. It has about 500 different cans and bottles of beers on sale at the same time, and I love just going in there and just choosing the strangest sounding beer. I mean, ones that are Kiwi based, ones that are blackberry based, or anything like that. That's just a little bit different. I like to try it, and going out now, you won't probably drink when you're trying your IPAs, things like that. You won't go out and drink 8, 9, 10 pints of these things because you won't be walking home if you're drinking that with that type of ale.
It's too much.
You may be wanting 3 or 4 of them.
We usually start
overnight.
with a couple of beers if we go out to have a couple of drinks, and then swap it maybe for whiskey or
exactly.
something different.
Because even with the beers, the strength of some of the beers is very high these days.
In my country, I don't think we have weaker beers than 5% of alcohol. Which
you look at in Poland, one of the biggest drinking beers in Poland is probably Żywiec, and they have one of them which is like 8%, and that's their normal strength.
You have a couple of them,
and that's
flying
it.
Back
Really.
home.
You don't need to be doing much else. But I've got a few bottles at home where I've been saving them for drinking them for special times. I think I got one for my 40th birthday, which was a bourbon barrel fermented one, which I think that one's about 18%.
Wow!
So it's that's still I think that's still got a date into about another couple of years. I think when my daughter turns 18, my eldest daughter turns 18, I think that's the year that that one has to be drunk by. So I'll know when to drink that anyway.
What do you think is ideal temperature of the beer?
Ideal temperature.
Depends what type of beer.
Depends on what type of beer. If you're drinking your lagers, you're probably wanting 3 or 4 degrees, nice and chilled, at that. If you are drinking your IPAs,
could be a little bit more,
maybe
5,
6 degrees, probably 5 or 6 degrees is probably your ambient temperature. Because with the IPAs and lagers, the IPAs more, you don't want them as a chilled drink. You want it cooled. I like
Yeah.
it as a nice cool, but you can also drink them at room temperature very easily.
Yeah,
But you want them to be about 5 or 6 degrees,
yeah.
and that's
But
probably about,
lager, room temperature, it's no
it's
no
horrible.
go for me.
It's horrible
Yeah.
to drink lager at room temperature.
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
got to have that. It's got to be chilled, and you know, especially if you go out to a pub and you're buying a lager, you know when it's a good pub because you know they've got nice clean lines
Mm-hmm.
and they've got a decent chilling system. When your beer comes out and you feel your glass and that glass feels chilled,
Yeah.
because you shouldn't be chilling your glass really.
Like one
to
of
begin with,
those freezing cold, I think Heineken.
Yeah.
They make one of them. It's
Yeah.
really nice, freezing cold glass. At Rainbow Northwest, we make real estate effortless. Whether you're looking to sell on the market, off market through our exclusive investor database, or via auction, we've got you covered. Plus, we offer top-notch property and project management, including refurbishment for investors. We can help you to build your own portfolio. Let us help you on your real estate journey. Rainbow Northwest, your trusted real estate business partner. There are some couple good pubs in Warrington as well. You sent me some pictures as
Warrington
well, with
is
some nice beers.
Warrington is one of those places where you don't generally think of it as your epicenter of beers, but there's so many different bars in the town centre
Where you find
where
some
you
beers
find
that
beers
you
that
would go.
you won't know. I mean, where we were, it was my birthday at the weekend, and I went out with the family to Warrington Market. And in the market, there's a food hall where there's about 18 different independent food traders. But then they've got a couple of different beer places, and there's one that's called the Hop Emporium, and they have
Like a stand or
it's
or
like
is-
it's like a bar built in
it's-
the
it's-
actual
it's a
as
bar.
part of the
Okay.
market, and they have I think they have about 12 different taps on. And they've obviously got your standard Cruz Campo, Peronis, Guinness, those kind of things that are on all the time. But then they've got the rest of the taps. They've either got keg or casked beers, and I said that they're constantly changing. So you can go 1 week to the next week, and they've changed completely. I think last night I was drinking the mango or pineapple infused beer, and that was a really nice drink. So, but say Warrington is one of those very strange places where you wouldn't think of it as a big place for bars, but
Are there many in Manchester?
I mean, Manchester's a strange place where, especially if you go to the town centre, the city centre in Manchester, you've got more like your big established bars. I mean, you want to go
nice,
down to
that Brewdog is nice.
the Brewdog Hotel. They've got the nice
Yeah.
place there, the Brewdog Bar. But
I've been there a couple of times.
if you
really
go
nice.
with Manchester, go down to the bottom of Deansgate, especially down to Deansgate Locks. There's quite a few places down there that tend to sell your more IPAs. But if you want to go full on IPA, ale, decent beers, there's lots of places in the Northern Quarter now. But they do tend to be quite busy because it's your more in fashion. People tend to like to go to it for your Instagram cruise, and they tend to like to go places like that.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I like the era going out for a drive and just finding a random pub, and finding random breweries. I mean, I love going to North Wales, and there's one of my favourite.
Wales is beautiful.
It is a lovely country to go to, lovely place to visit. I say go camping. I mean, hopefully going camping there next weekend if the weather holds up as well. But one of the places I like going to is called Port Maddock, and there's a brewery there called Purple Moose Brewery, where it's a small independent brewery, but they have some absolutely amazing beers that they sell, and the different tastes, the beers that they sell are just fabulous and very affordable as well, which makes it even better. So
that draft machine you recommended me, that's the next level. It was just
it is
quite dangerous.
It's-
When
it
I
is
bought
dangerous,
it,
yeah.
when I bought it, I remember I bought about 2-3 kegs with it, and I just found myself pouring a pint on Tuesday evening, and I'm thinking myself, it's just the beginning of the week.
It is dangerous. You can just be you're making your
But
evening
it's
meal.
nice. It's like
and
it's
just
like
a nice
proper
cool
beer from the pub.
Well, it's
on
a draft. It's a draft beer, isn't it? I
Yeah.
mean, at the moment, I've got one of the Robinson Brewery that they did with Iron Maiden, actually. Trooper, the Trooper
Yeah,
Ale.
send me the picture.
And
I never had that one.
It's a lovely, lovely ruby ale, that is. And I say, strangely enough, I was actually at Parr Hall in Warrington last weekend watching an Iron Maiden tribute band who were fantastic. But they brought in a load of Trooper bottled beers. So that's what we were drinking all night there. So it was absolutely brilliant. But the difference between the bottled beers and the draft is just day and night. Draft, right
difference.
temperature, nice beer, massive difference.
Yeah. Do you like Czech lagers as well?
I do. I mean, I think your Czech lagers tend to be stronger, tend to be crispier, and I think the actual the hops that they use for the Czech lager tends to be drier. So I mean, you could buy your lagers over in the UK, like your Carlins and everything. I don't like drinking all that kind of water. I call it tap water myself, unfortunately.
Really?
And then you can have your Stellas of the world. But then when you're looking towards your more Central and Eastern European type of lagers, they tend to be more...
Pilsner is one of them.
Yeah.
Pilsner is nice.
I mean, even your German lagers.
German lagers, yeah. Would you go to Germany for Oktoberfest?
I would do, yes. Yeah.
It must be great experience.
It's I mean, Munich Beer
everything,
Festival,
the atmosphere, the food. They make those, bratwurst.
Yeah, I mean, again, just going back to Warrington, Oktoberfest has started to become quite a big thing in the area as well. 'Cause, I mean, you've got so many different places: Walton Hall, Warrington Market, Parr Hall. Unfortunately, this year Parr Hall hasn't got its Warrington Beer Festival on this year for some reason. But there tends to be 3 or 4 different beer festivals. Lynn Beer Festival. You've got I think they've got the Stockton Heath one as well. Different beer festivals take place, and it's great atmosphere to go and try. I mean, who wouldn't want to turn up and have a rows and rows of probably about 100 different beers that you can go and sample in one room? So
Definitely. Going back to property, for a little bit. You've been in conveyancing for past 20 years.
Yeah,
You've
20
seen
years.
some different cycles in the property market.
I've seen cycles in the property market. I've seen differences in technology come through. Me when I first started, even though it was only 20 years ago, email wasn't a massive thing back then. You were still waiting for 9:30 for your partners in the company to check the post, for the post to come to your office, and letters, physical letters, would come on. You'd have a pile, probably about 10 centimetres, 15 centimetre high pile of letters, at least twice a day to go through, and then emails were used.
So the offices were full of paperwork as well.
Massively full of paperwork. It was still a massive part was actually going through your files and having to read through each individual letter. These days, I'm lucky if I get 4 or 5 letters a day through the post.
Yeah.
But
that must have been challenging because there is lots of work as well. Like you read the letter and you obviously have to type it in and reply to them. And
I mean,
now we've got templates. You change things and
And I say even not just the technology side of things, like we say, over the last 20 years, we've seen that many peaks and troughs for the actual market itself. I mean, we've been through a small recession, we've been through the big recession where obviously was kicked off by Northern Rock going bump at the time.
2008?
2008 it was, yeah, and that was probably just...
How did it affect your business, like conveyancing?
It went a lot quieter. Okay. I wouldn't say it died, but it did go a lot quieter.
The properties were selling because they will be selling all the time.
I think the thing is, it was different type of property was selling. When you're not in a recession or anything, or in a bad time, would put it, you have properties that were selling on the market, no problem at all. Once you've been through a recession and people, it's not just the property market, it's people's job, people losing their jobs and all sorts. You were getting repossessions. Repossession sales were coming through like daily.
Because people over leveraged.
People were over leveraged. The recession, the market shrunk. The lending shrunk. People were refusing to lend, and the lending they were was harder to get. People were able to remortgage, so they were basically going from these great super duper deals on their fixed rate that they were on to these now variable rates for the lenders' standard variable rates at the time. So, and it was sometimes doubling, if not tripling, what their monthly costs were going on the mortgages. So, you would tend to find that they were
how long did it take to stabilize and going back to normal? 2 years?
Oh, I'd say about 2 years. It was roughly. I think you started to see the shoots. They say that's what they said. The same was when they say the shoots were coming out about 2 years after that, and we tend to find that the rates were going back to acceptable levels. Lenders were starting to lend again, and you were having new lenders coming up. So that's when we started seeing a return to how it was, I think. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, at that time especially, there was a lot more competition out in the market with conveyancing, and you were finding a lot of places were doing these ridiculous deals of £199 conveyancing deals and things like that. So you were trying to compete and stay open with places charging silly rates like that. So
200 quid.
It was ridiculous. I mean, that wasn't just online conveyancing. That was some high street places were trying to advertise a 199, 299 plus VAT for your conveyancing. It's like,
wow,
it's ridiculous. I mean, that's for what someone's charging. That's probably realistically these days. That's about an hour and a half of work for what realistically in conveyancing is 15, 20 hours worth of work you probably could be doing. So it's just, it was a very strange time at the time.
I've only been in property, 7, 8 years now?
Yeah.
But I've seen some crazy time.
You've
21, 22.
Yeah.
And after COVID, it was mad.
Yeah.
Properties were selling like crazy. Everyone was bidding on them. There was 15 to 20 buyers on each property.
It was a strange time for us because you were seeing these prices.
They were selling 10. Yeah. The average was 15. Obviously, I'm talking about the price bracket around 200k. They were selling 10 to 15k above asking prices. Yeah. Every single one property.
I mean, we were saying, during the COVID times, we, as a company, we were looking after our staff, and it was at their request that we had a lot of support staff were furloughed at the time. And so there was the lawyers, I think there was 4 of us at the time, and our accounts manager. We were the only people who were basically doing the work. So we were, and even then, even though COVID was hit, we were still transacting on properties. Mm-hmm. So, but after COVID times, we just saw, like you said, it was in Warrington. I think one estate agent told me that your average timescale for a property being listed to being sold, sold subject to contract, was 3 days.
That's crazy.
And
you just open the door and you've got 10 offers on the table.
Well, they had properties were just going on, and they had that many people who were desperate. They'd been stuck in the house for 2.5 years during COVID times. They were wanting a change. They were wanting to move, and they were just wanting a new property.
Yeah, it was crazy time. What's the future? Do you think AI will be big for your business as well, implementing some AI softwares?
AI has had, I say, a small effect already. There are certain systems in place for ordering searches, things like that, which you can. To be honest with you, the search company that we use in Warrington, Express, they've had systems in place where they've had not AI, but they've used an intelligent conveyancing ordering system for the last 4 or 5 years, which has been developed, and that is literally a case of you put the address in, and it tells you this search you need, this search you need, this search you need. You could also think about this search you might need. So things like that have always been there in the background. I think with conveyancing, you're always going to need the human being there in the back. AI may be great for looking at things like title reports. You can put the data into a system and it writes the title report for you. It tells you everything about the property you need to know. But you're always going to have strange things. If you're looking at houses from the 1700s, 1800s, there's that many little strange little things about them. You're going to need someone to look at them in the background. I don't think we're ever going to ever see a situation in conveyancing, especially where
it will be just
it'll be just
software.
AI, it'll
Yeah,
software
yeah. Of course.
driven.
In every business, but I do believe that it will be implemented in many businesses, and what it can do is maybe decrease overheads.
It may
Because,
streamline
for example,
the process.
Email replies could be automatic. It knows what to reply. If it's convincing reply,
Yeah.
it knows what needs to be replied according to your company rules and all that. So it's interesting to see. I think a lot will be happening in property as well.
Yeah.
Some companies will become prop tech companies.
Changes will happen. It always
Yeah.
has. I mean, even the last 20 years, you just see how much technology has come on and changed. And I mean, if you told me 20 years ago that we'd be having automated, even just the simple automated text messaging systems, automated emailing systems, it was like
CRMs and
yeah,
everything.
exactly. That wasn't something you were thinking of back then. So going forward to the future, you're going to be looking at. There's going to be changes about. I mean, if it makes my life easier, my job easier, I'm all for it at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there's always going to be controls you can put in place with the human touch.
And the better it gets, even the cost of these CRMs is affordable now.
Exactly.
Where before, to buy a proper CRM for company, it probably costs you thousands of pounds, and it can cost you, a couple hundred a month now.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a very good system that we use at the moment, which effectively it pays for itself. It doesn't actually cost us really very much to run. It's a kind of a pay per case kind of system, and
so it's paid from cases basically.
Yeah, basically.
That's really good.
So it works
Smart.
really well with us. We've got a good team who run it there for us in the background, and we have full control over what the system does. I.e., I've got all my coding, my tokens that I can use for setting the system up, and I can change. If someone comes to me one day and says, Mike, I think we need a letter that does this, and this, I could probably put this together within a couple of hours, and it's done there at a touch of a button. It runs the task and does what they need it to do. So we can put things in place there, which are brilliant. And we've also got things that we use for our AML checks and identity checks, where that uses an online system now, with clients get an app, and then they just upload their data to the app, their information to the app, and then it runs a report for us. So instead of a job that used to maybe take me half an hour to do, I can now do that job in 5-10 minutes
just send
maximum.
them a link.
Read the report, send the link to them, read the report, and if I need extra information for them, I can ask it for them. But I'm not having to spend 30 minutes thinking,
so much time.
Looking through 50 pages of bank details for someone to find out one little bit of information for it.
That's
it's
what
all
it does. It saves a lot of time as well.
Yeah,
which is great.
100%. I mean, it saves time. It's more profitable. That's what we want to be doing.
Time is money.
It is indeed.
I know that you are a family guy as well. How many kids you've got?
4.
4?
Yeah.
Ooh, big family.
Yeah.
Great. They're everything, are they?
Oh, they're hard work at times, as kids always
tell me
are.
about it. I've got only 2, but they can be
Especially
challenging.
I mean, they've got their own. All 4 of them have got different personalities. They're different people, completely different.
Yeah.
All 4 of them. From my eldest, who's, I say, she's at college now, so she's starting to, with a bit of a push or a kick, should I say, she's trying to get into a bit more independent. I say I've got a 14-year-old who's a lad who's a sports mad. He's followed me into ice hockey. He's 14, 6 foot, quite a big build. He's a bit of a target when it comes to hockey, but he enjoys it. I've got a 4-year-old daughter who's she probably thinks she's the boss of the house.
Okay.
And then the 2-year-old who's just a complete and utter lunatic. I don't know where she gets it from. It's just, if there's anyone that would ever become a serial murderer, it's my youngest. she's the one to keep an ie on.
Don't let her watch Ed Gein, the new monster.
Don't let her watch anything like that. She'll be and obviously got my wife Sarah, who's just a and absolutely, she's pretty amazing looking after us all. So she holds a tight ship and makes sure everything functions and makes sure I behave myself as well. So
that's cool. I'll ask you the question that I ask every single one guest.
Yeah.
Is loyalty important to you?
Very important. End of the day, loyalty. It's about trust. People don't trust you. I don't think they're going to use you in business. It's not just business, and it's personally. They're not going to want to be involved with you if they can't trust you.
Any
basically.
transaction, anything.
Yeah. So you've got to earn loyalty as well. I think a lot of the work. I mean, when we first met, you put me in touch with a community that I've worked a lot with now, and within the community itself, trust and loyalty is a massive, massive thing for them.
Especially we deal with overseas clients.
Exactly. They don't, a lot of, especially overseas investors, they come into the UK to buy, they've never known anything about buying in the UK before. And they don't trust people who aren't from their own country a lot of the time, and they don't want to work with you. But if you are looking after them, you're doing a good job, and they can trust you, and basically you can say that I'm being loyal to you, I'm looking after you. The work comes with it, because it's not
Repeated
just them.
business.
It's not them you're acting for. You're then acting for the brother, the sister, the mum, the dad, the best friend, and then it spirals. And I think I acted for one person who came to basically want to do some work for them, and I did a very, very good job for them. And then they told another person, and then they told another person, and then that basically led to a lot of work.
Free advertisement.
Coming in, and say, we, as a company, we do not pay for advertising. We do
That's
not.
what I wanted to ask. Like, do you use any ads, paid ads or anything?
We don't pay. We do not pay for advertising.
Repeated business.
Repeated business, word of mouth, and
friends, family. And...
I think with the name of the company, obviously we're very well known in Warrington. Our founding partner, Peter, he set up the firm. I think it was 32 years ago now, and he obviously set it up from a very small, him and his secretary, and that was it basically. And from them it grew. People got to know him, established reputation, and it's just gone from there. People knew the name in Warrington. So, and now it's obviously going a case of we're getting a name further afield, should I say? And that's
great. That's how it should be in a business. You know, for example, even when I sold some properties 2019, I sold them again 2024, 2023, 24 again for the same client, because they come back to you if they trust you.
Exactly.
And especially when you deal with people who are not from this country, like they rely on me. I send them pictures and videos, and I'm guaranteeing that if I say that the refurb will be $3,000, it's $3,000 or less. It's not 5, it's not 7 after completion. You know, that's where we need to be very, very careful, because, you know, it happened a couple of times, and I've seen some really bad examples of people literally ripping off these overseas clients.
Massively.
I've seen
some
some guys losing 50-60 grand, you know, being promised that it will be HMO, couldn't be HMO because it was too small, they didn't do drawings properly, and things like this, like taking deposits, not returning back.
And I think that's one of the big things that, especially in your market, the sourcing, the investors coming to you to find, we want this type of property. There's been quite a few people I've seen come into this market, in the sourcing market, never having done it before in their life, and thinking, "Oh, this is easy.
Easy money.
We can
that's
just
what they
walk
all
in.
think.
That's $3-4 grand for a deal. We can go and do that. That's such an easy job to do." But then it's a case of when they're then trying to do that work, the next step for their investment, like say alterations, renovations, conversions, things like that.
And it comes with it, because you know, if you deliver for the client, obviously they will ask you for recommendation. It's additional money. You can make money on project management, for example, or you have a deal with a builder, you know, you can get some kickback from it. but it comes with it. And if you don't do a good job again, you can. The reputation is like a glass. Once you break it, it's gone.
It is.
You can't
It
put it
is
together.
massively.
And you have to be very, very careful if you want to sustain for the long term. And I always looked at the bigger picture, like, okay, yeah, I can make $3,000 now, but what if this client will come back and buy 7 properties off me?
I say I've had the two biggest things I've had of people who are buying properties and they're only looking at the here and now. They're not looking 3 or 4 years down the line when they're maybe needing to refinance or even just sell it up at that point. They're thinking, I'm telling them about an issue that they've got now, and they're thinking, oh, well, it's not going to be an issue. They've come to try and sell it down the future, and they've come back to say, actually, yeah, we've got this issue now. And I'm saying, well, I told you. I did tell you about this issue. I can resolve it. It's going to be costing you quite a lot of money to resolve it. But if you'd listened to me back then, we could have got the people you're buying from to resolve it, and then you wouldn't have this issue now. But at the same time, I've had one family who have come to the UK, and I think I've acted for about 5 different members of their family now, and they've all spent close to £1 million on property. So it's not been cheap property that people have been buying. And I said, why have you used me? Why have you not gone
London, or where was the property?
There's been 3 of them were in London. One of them was in the Lakes, up in the Lake District, and one of them was over in God's backyard in Yorkshire. But I've said to them, why have you used me? So basically, because I said they could have used some city firm. They basically come to me and just said, look, we like dealing with you. It doesn't matter about the name on the letterhead. It's you. We've come to you. You do the job for us.
Proves
we
again,
trust you.
People do business with people.
Exactly.
And always will.
Exactly.
If you earn that respect and build that reputation, they will always come back to you.
Exactly. So
they
want to deal. They want to deal with you rather than anything else. That's the thing. So, and even if you say I'm going to be away for a couple of weeks, say, well, we're not bothered. We're ready to wait. We're happy with the firm that we've instructed in you. So,
is there any difference with these bigger transactions with properties worth like millions, or is it pretty much similar process than normal transaction?
You know what? I was asked this the other day by.
I'm just curious because
I was there was a person who come along and was asking me that very question, and I said to him, "Look, I've had properties where property's been £4 or £5 million, or I've been acting in a £10 million portfolio of properties. They've been straightforward. But then someone's come along to me with a £150,000, £100,000 terrace, or even just a small house that's you wouldn't think would be anything wrong with it. And it's been the worst property, the worst title you've ever seen. And it's caused so many delays. And there's a few of them where I've had to tell people, look, don't proceed with it. You cannot buy this because it's going to be an issue for you. And
does that happen many times? Like you literally have to tell them that don't proceed.
I wouldn't say it all the time. Maybe a couple of times a month.
Oh, really?
It would happen, and it's a lot of the time it's nothing. It's alterations which have been an issue where they've had major alterations done within the last 12 months and they've never had it signed off, and they're refusing to have it signed off.
These extensions and all that.
Exactly. But then I've had issues where there's people who've been buying houses where parts of the garden are missing, or there's rights of way running through. I've had one even this week.
What about like moving the boundary as well? Because that happens sometimes.
People thinking,
there's a in a different place where
move the fence 3 meters back because that little bit of grass there, no one's ever wanted it. I'm just going to move it back. So then you come to sell it. And it's like, well, we've now got to go down the route of either trying to, if they've owned it for long enough, trying to obtain possessory title for the land. Or
how long does that take?
12 years.
12 years?
To actually to gain possessory title for some land, you've got to have owned it for 12 years. So it can be quite difficult when they've told you, we only moved it last year. So, well, you're going to have an issue here, and it's whether or not your buyer is willing to take that risk. Whether they do or not it's for them.
So it's
to
not
decide.
necessarily about the value of the property. It's
No.
mainly about the title, alternations, and all different type of issues, boundaries.
And I say that I had one this week where I've got a public right of way running right through someone's back garden. So that is basically where a builder has gone and built a house, and they've put their gardens out, and basically they've either not know, well, they should have known if the lawyers at the time had done the job properly, but there's basically been a right of way running through the garden,
like a walk path,
and that's a footpath. That's a public right of way. So any Joe Bloggs member of the public has a right to walk through your back garden.
That's mad.
And
people just check it. They think it's not going to be an issue, but it's not until you looking to sell your property. That's when it's the issue.
Is
because everything is being checked then. All conveyancing go through all the details, and that's when it's found out.
And I think we've now, in the day where we've got electronic registrations of titles now, it shouldn't be an issue with title, because the title should have been checked properly. But now you get into a stage where you've got we're about 25 years probably into 30 years into first registrations became compulsory for pretty much every area in the country, and you're starting to find that all those properties now are starting to sell. People have been living there for a long time, and you're starting to see issues, mistakes made by the land registry, mistakes made by lawyers in what they've drafted in the past. Legislation changes all the time, so what was good 5 years ago is not acceptable now for ground rents, for rent charges, things like that. They've reared their ugly heads again in the last 4 or 5 years, where lenders have changed the requirements, rules have changed.
Do you think these high ground rents will ever change? Because I've heard rumours that they're supposed to just scrape them and everything should be freehold, apparently.
To be honest with you, as long as I've been doing conveyancing, there's been talk about getting rid of leasehold. I mean, the most common thing at the moment is the changing leasehold to common hold land, and basically from now on, the new leases that are created now, they can only be as a peppercorn rent now, so they can't be high rents. New leases being created, but we've still got this years and years and years of doubling ground rents and things like that.
Years.
Yeah, you've got some some developers who agreed that they would change their leases, which had the bad clauses in them, to make them so they actually are marketable. But obviously, you've got some of them where they don't want, and if you want to change it, you've got to spend tens of thousands of pounds. And is it usually
lenders who have problems with them high ground rents and service charges?
It can be anyone. I mean, I tend to find that if you're buying with a mortgage, people tend to be a little bit more laid back as to what's on a title, because it's not their money.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, they're borrowing money.
But if you have to pay, let's say, £400-500 a month service charge and ground rent together on top of your mortgage, it's not a small cost.
No, exactly. And a lot of lenders are looking at affordability, and they're basically that's where they're refusing to lend, because they can't see the people who afford
I don't know, £6,000 could be
it's another mortgage for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it is, and unfortunately, service charges. Ground rents maybe. At some point, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that there's going to be some change comes about with some nice, decent legislation put through, not some half-assed, basically, legislation that they try and bring through to cover up the issues. Hopefully, they'll bring through some legislation which will completely rid us of the ground rents, but you're still going to have an issue where service charges are always going to be going up. Things are becoming more expensive all the time.
Yeah,
utilities, insurance, building work, it's always going to be rising, and service charges are going to be rising as well. So
and it's mainly for maintaining the area of
the communal grounds, especially for flats, the communal parts in the properties. Properties that were built, especially the flats that were built in like the 70s, you got issues with asbestos. That's obviously becoming an issue where they've got to have the asbestos reports.
So expensive
management
to remove
is so expensive to remove. More recently, you got your Building Safety Act, where you've got all the cladding and things like that, which is obviously a lot of work for it to all be removed and things like that. So
I think we can slowly wrap it up. Tell me what's future for you with your business? Do you think you will ever stop and you will just wrap it up?
I hope not.
No,
I hope not. I hope I'll be.
Are you workaholic?
I
You enjoy.
I think some people, when they're getting emails from me at 2:00 in the morning after I've got back from ice hockey training and I can't sleep, that's when they tend to be a little bit, an email at that silly o'clock in the morning. But I'd say, I wouldn't say workaholic. But I do enjoy my job.
Yeah, that's good.
Sometimes it's a little bit of a sadistic way to say it, because you enjoy it, but it is difficult at times, and sometimes you come home thinking, why am I doing this, why am I doing that? But no, I think I won't put so much money into a firm and a job that I didn't like, basically.
Yeah,
so
definitely. Have you ever thought about moving out of UK? Have you ever had that conversation with your missus? Because I know that you love traveling.
I love traveling, love cruising, love traveling to different countries. I think if you ask my wife, would she live abroad, I think if the kids and family came, I think she probably would. I think somewhere like Ibiza would be her number one choice straight away, because she loves the island over there.
I've never been. Nice.
Oh, very nice, very nice. I mean,
my mate's just been last weekend, actually.
I say it's not just the party. Yeah, not just the party central in the likes of there are some lovely
family places as well.
Up the coast, there's some absolutely lovely resorts, small resorts. Some of the bigger resorts, but it's a lovely island to go and visit. But to say last 3 or 4 years, as a family, we've visited Menorca a lot, because it's just a family quiet island, 2.5 hour flight from the UK.
Same,
brilliant,
like
brilliant.
To Slovakia, to my country, 2.5 hours.
Exactly, and but I think in the future it may be a case of, I wouldn't stop completely the job. I think I'd probably look at winding down a little bit to make more of it
part-time.
Yeah, you're probably looking at that, but it's not on the cards as yet.
Yeah, of course.
But I think it's a case of if we get to a stage in the future where we've got the staff in, where we can leave it to run the business itself and take a step back and go into the semi-retirement, that'd be the ideal situation, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Instead of maybe selling it and...
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for coming. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been lovely.
It was a good chat. We might enjoy one beer now.
Oh, yes. I think we should.
I actually got that orange peel one.
Oh, we got to give that a chance. Yeah. A nice hazy...
We're gonna try that one. So thank you, Mike, for coming.
You're very welcome.
It's been pleasure to have a good chat with you, and all the best.
Thank you very much. It's been brilliant.
One more thing.
Yes.
Where people can find you. Obviously, you don't spend a lot of money on advertisement, but you are based in Warrington.
Yeah, we're based in Warrington. The company is called Holbrook and Company.
Yep.
We're licensed conveyancers, so we're not a firm of solicitors. I'm a solicitor myself. I'm a non-practicing solicitor, but I'm dual qualified as a licensed conveyancer. So we do property. That's all we do.
Yeah.
You won't
commercial as well, or mainly residential?
It's all residential now. We did commercial in the years gone by, but we found that now our niche is residential. Yeah. We're very, very busy with it. We're good at what we do.
Any type of residential,
any types of residential property.
HMOs, the full portfolio
flats, shared ownership, mortgages, everything you could think of when it comes to residential. Throughout England, throughout Wales, we cover everything, basically.
Brilliant.
We're based in Warrington Town Centre in Palmyra Square. We've got physical offices there.
Physical office where people can walk and find you there.
Although we've got a lot of clients who are abroad and a lot of clients who are living all around the country, we have the physical office so people can come and see us. And a lot of the time, they just come and say hello.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant. So,
like I did a couple of times.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Cool. Thank you, Mike.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
At Rainbow Northwest, we make real estate effortless. Whether you're looking to sell on the market, off-market through our exclusive investor database, or via auction, we've got you covered. Plus, Plus, we offer top-notch property and project management, including refurbishment for investors. We can help you to build your own portfolio. Let us help you on your real estate journey. Rainbow Northwest, your trusted real estate business partner.